Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so with 8.4 dropping very soon, it is actually my own negligence that didn't start this series earlier. I will be going over the top rank up options from every class. I'll try to get these uploaded by 2 at a time, that's in 2 a day, and today we're going to be talking about science class. So top science champions to take up to rank 3. In my personal opinion, a huge disclaimer here as always, because this does represent the way I think, the way I look at the game, what I think is generally the best, and we all play the game differently at different progression levels. We view champions differently based on their play styles and which game modes we are more engaged in, and therefore, again, massive disclaimer here, this is my opinion. And we're going to start with my favorite class, science class. So if you do pull a science rank 2 to 3 gem, you should be very happy if you have some of the decent options, because the class in itself is absolutely gobsmacked and stacked. As we can see, plenty of amazing champions have been released as 7 stars. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to jump down to May. And in this video, I'm going to give you my top 7 science champions in the game currently to take to rank 3. And we're going to start with spot number 7. I will also explain whether they need or do not need to be awakened for these selections to apply, and that is Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit, in my opinion, should at the very least be duped, but he has been in the base pool since the very beginning, so I think a lot of people could potentially have him duped, and I still kind of think he's slept on. I do think he answers a lot of problems. He's one of those science champions that can perform very well without major reliance on debuffs, but when you do get your debuffs going, you can achieve quite a lot of things. Now, it does require for you to be fairly adept in controlling his cards and a bit of luck, but in general, I do think Joe Fixit is underrated both offensively and defensively. Him being Hulk obviously provides him poison immunity as well. And yeah, I do think Joe Fixit well deserves spot number 7 on this list. That means that every single following champion, I think, is slightly more worthy. And we're going to go with Void. Now, Void is, again, that situation where you do want him awakened, and you probably want to invest the 6 stones into him. 6 stones that you get either from 8.4, or you got from the X Magica event. These do work on Void as well, or any other 6 stones that you came across from Winter of Woe. The higher SIG level, the better, but even at SIG 20, 40, 60, Void obviously is still a formidable foe, with him being one of the chunkier champions in the game, and him dealing unavoidable damage make him always a worthwhile defender in Battlegrounds, or often anyways. And he's kind of seeing a resurgence, in my opinion, because he can easily manage a ton of different matchups with his slow and steady playstyle, as well as the times that you can be aggressive with him. He is not as slow as people consider him to be. So overall, I think he's a very solid two-way champion, and if I had a duped 7-star, he'd definitely be up for consideration for going up to rank 3. Now, spot number 5, and this could arguably be higher, actually, is Spider-Ham. Now, the reason why I'm not putting him that much higher is because he just entered the base pool, and most people probably will not have him awakened, if at all. But Spider-Ham is very good. I have had him at rank 2 for ages, absolutely loved every meta where he worked great in. The man can take down virtually any Mystic champion and a ton of other random matchups. I really enjoyed using him in a ton of cheesy matchups, like using him to take down Killmonger, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think Spider-Ham, even unawakened, is already a solid option to take up. He is in my personal top 3 science champions to go up to go up to rank 3 at this current moment. Like, if I was to pull Science Gem, yeah, he would be one of the 3 most likely options for me to go up to rank 3. For sure. Obviously, you know, plenty of defensive value, especially once you get him awakened, and offensive nuke, plenty of, you know, power sting damage. He arguably has the most power sting damage in the entire game. Cassie's more consistent, I'd say, but Spider-Ham definitely can close out fights faster. Right. Moving on to the next spot is Hulk. Now, I do think Hulk has fallen off slightly. Still see plenty of him. He's also one of those science champions that can work when often others might not do as well. He does have better defensive value than a lot of people think, and that has to do with him being relatively chunky, with him entering his Gamma Rage when he's awakened, and at times catching opponents by going unstoppable, and then obviously synergizing with Inequity and Despair Masteries, because when you attack Hulk, you will more than likely get a ton of debuffs placed on you. Now, that can be a detriment against some of the skill champions, but quite often, if you are running Inequity Mastery, he can be a surprising defensive anchor. One of my favorite things to do is just drop a random Hulk on defense in like round 1 and then see how opponents just can't nuke him quite as fast. Obviously, offensively, he still has plenty of oomph. Now, it has declined slightly because I do kind of feel like that we haven't seen as many rank 3 Hulks compared to rank 3 defenders, and therefore the difference of the damage and impact might not have been as huge, or he might not have had the most necessarily the most suitable metas for him to work with. But overall, Hulk is definitely a very, very strong candidate just outside of top 3 for going to rank 3. And now we're going to close in on the 3 best rank 3 options that I think exist in Science class. Oh, forgot to mention that Hulk is also a legit champion, even unawakened. Slightly worse defensively, but still a chunky lad. And obviously offensively, you're not missing much at all. Spot number 3, I'm giving to Silk. Silk is one of those champions I kind of didn't get into for quite a while, because when I got Silk relatively early on, I wasn't like super into her playstyle. I know a lot of people were, and then she got released as a 7-star. And then I was kind of a bit hesitant to rank her up all the way, but she's definitely one of those champions that kind of shines at the higher power levels, because then you just then you can realize just how nukey she is, and when she can obliterate opponents with a single level 2, you just take such a huge amount of joy when using Silk in general. And that's one of the reasons why she's such a fantastic rank 3 candidate. The higher she ranked is, I think the easier and the better it is to use Silk, because she's definitely one of those champs that, similarly to Corvus, wants to be the highest possible rank that there is in order to be at her best. And for a Science champion, she doesn't have that huge amount of utility. She has very powerful evade. She actually has very, very good base stats, considering that she's a spider character. But the biggest thing obviously comes from those physical vulnerabilities and the massive, massive special attack. If you need, you can go for level 3 rotation, but in often cases, level 2, if you have stacked up plenty of physical vulnerability, will be enough to finish the fight. Now, I do think her Awakened ability does make her significantly better, but even unawakened, she maintains all of her nuke potential and nuke abilities. And yeah, I have had the privilege, the honor, the luck to get myself a 7-star Silk, and then shortly after getting her duped, I took her to rank 2, and I have absolutely loved it. I think Silk is very, very, very strong. I don't think she quite competes with the top 2 options, though. I think top 2 options are kind of in a league of their own. I love Silk, but Titania is just a force of nature. Titania has showed her value in the contest without a doubt. She's one of the best offensive champions for Battlegrounds, period, because she doesn't actually work necessarily as a Science champion. She doesn't care too much if opponent can purify some of her debuffs or of plenty of other abilities. She's obviously completely buff immune, which is awesome and wonderful. Often quite tanky, so a decent defensive placement as well, especially for like round 3 defender. And her biggest thing is level 3 and dead kind of thing. Now, there are times, and I do need to call this out, with, I'd say, inconsistencies with going for her level 3 with the Intimidate debuff. At times, AI still decides to throw a special that can kind of ruin your finishing sequence. But it is ridiculous how many matchups you can just rush to level 3, drop that level 3 by chaining it onto the heavy attack, then spam your heavies, chain into relic, go for a combo, and opponents are just dead. So many champions die. And if my Titania was duped, she would be clear favorite for me to take to rank 3. For sure. Because even though the dupe is not that necessary, you kind of often want the champions to be duped anyway. She's definitely worthwhile to rank up unduped as well, to point that out. And the only reason she would be the clear favorite, is obviously because I think I ranked up the champion that is up there. I think if you have a 7-star Photon, especially Awakened. Now, here's the real talk. I do think that rank 3 Titania Unawakened is potentially better rank up than Photon Unawakened. I took my Photon to rank 3 Unawakened, and I will be first admit that oftentimes in most of the metas, 6-star rank 5 Ascended 200 Photon is more dangerous in defense. I still think 7-star rank 3 Photon is incredibly dangerous in defense, and she has helped me a lot. She has won plenty of matches for me as well. However, from personal experience, I would say that 6-star rank 5 Ascended is probably still more dangerous than a 7-star rank 3 Unawakened. So I want to put that out there. But overall, I do think Photon is just the best science champion in the game right now. She has plenty powerful offense. People do underestimate her offensively all the time. The fact that she does all energy damage, the fact that she doesn't particularly care whether her debuff stuck that much either, the fact that she can bypass a ton of stupid abilities and stupid misses, and also, when she gets stunned, opponents, can't really hit her most of the time. And that has come in handy so many times with all of these accidental AI parries and whatnot. And in general, she's much, much, much better offensively than definitely people give her credit for in virtually all of the metas. And then, obviously, she's one of the most tough defenders. She's one of those defenders where most of the time she will meta win. She's one of the most banned defenders. She's one of those defenders where if the AI doesn't really want to cooperate with you, you're going to be messed up. If you do not have the perfect counter, you're probably going to lose the round. Often you will lose the round even with some of the best counters because she's just not simple to go up against. And also a significant reason why she's so lethal in defense is because she disables willpower. And any chip damage just remains. It's so hard to use a ton of champions against Photon that would rely on power gain effects or some regeneration or willpower healing. All of them just suffer so drastically, not to mention just, general mess-ups against Photon. So if you do have Awakened Photon, I think it's a no-brainer. That's the best option. Other than that, again, I would go Titania, duped or unduped. And we have Silk and the rest of the champions I mentioned. Obviously, there are other solid options that I would not be surprised to see at rank 3. I think if you have Overseer, Decent Sig, that's a solid rank up choice as well. Rank 3 Overseer, not bad at all. I think Captain America potentially, if you have him Awakened or Mr. Negative. Those are the rank up choices I can also understand. In fact, majority of the science class champions, with some notable exceptions like Low Sig Thing or Invisible Woman or something like that. Science class in general is just so stacked. So that will be it for today's video. These are my top 7 science rank 3 options. In next video, we're going to be talking about skill champions. I will try to get that released before 8.4 comes out. And then tomorrow, another 2 classes, day after tomorrow, last 2 classes. Hope you guys, again, enjoyed the video, found it useful, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about